Ever notice how you can take two photos of the exact same product or piece of artwork and one feels right while the other just feels off? You can't quite put your finger on why. They are two photos of the exact same thing, after all. But there's something. Maybe one feels cozy or inviting while the other feels kind of bland or dry or boring. Today, I'm showing you one easy to change option that is creating that difference, and you can adjust it no matter if you use a phone or regular camera to take photos of the work that you make. Hey friends, I'm Rebecca, and I teach fellow potters and makers how to take product photos that not only represent the quality of your work, but also the heart that you put into each piece. The kind of photos that make people stop, connect with you, and want to buy what you're making. In this video, I'll show you a real client example of two photos side by side that I recently photographed for Speedball Ceramics, and the power that color theory can have in shifting the mood of your photos to be more in alignment with the work that you create. Now, if you're looking for the foundation of better product photos before you get into all this color theory chat, then the place to start is my free product photography foundations guide. You can download it at the link in the description below this video. Because before you get into aesthetic choices, we need to make sure the foundation of the photo, the lighting, the exposure, the colors of the work that you make are all correct, right? So pause this real quick and download that free guide. Okay, you got it? You sure? You clicked the link? All right, let's go. Let's look at these two photos side by side. Same mug, same grapes, same lighting setup, same camera angle, same day, same location. Everything is identical. I took these photos within minutes of each other. Everything is the same except one thing: the background color. In the first photo, the background is a cool cement gray. In the second photo, it's a warm, reddy purple. That's it. That's the only difference. But look at how dramatically different these two photos feel. The gray background version feels cooler, more neutral, maybe a little bit modern. The purple background, it feels moody, more dramatic, and it creates a cohesive color scheme. Now, here's the important part. If you're half listening, come back to me. Neither one of these photos are wrong. They're just speaking to completely different aesthetics and ultimately different customers. Which one do you like more? Tell me in the comments, because again, no one is right or wrong here. But it's crucial to start to understand why you like what you like, so that together we can create images you're actually happy with, finally. In fact, this is one of the first lessons I walk through students with inside of the Maker's Photography Styling System. Because until you know why you like what you like, or possibly sometimes it's easier to figure out what you don't like, it can be infuriating trying to get a photo that you're actually proud of. So between these two photos, which one do you like more? The cool gray background or the warm purple one? Let me know in the comments. And let's dig into why these feel so different. Because it comes down to something called visual hierarchy, which is just a fancy way of saying where your eye looks first. Where does it go after that, and then after that, and after that? In both photos, the mug is clearly the subject of the photo. But the way your eye travels through the rest of the image, that's pretty different. With the gray background, there's clear separation between the mug, the grapes, and the background. Your eye sees three distinct elements. It's organized, it's structured, everything kind of has its own space. But with the purple background, the grapes and the background start to work together as a cohesive element. Your eye sees the mug as the focal point, and then everything else feels like it belongs to the same color story. It's less about individual elements and more about a mood. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you prefer clear separation between your art, your props, and your background? Or do you want everything to feel like it's part of one scene? Again, there's no right or wrong here. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of color theory basics that will change how you choose backgrounds, maybe forever. On the color wheel, Color relates to each other in different ways, and those relationships create different feelings. Complementary colors are opposites. They sit across from each other on the wheel. Think blue and orange or red and green. These create high energy and potentially high drama. Your eye notices the contrast that they create immediately. Analogous colors are neighbors. They sit next to each other on the wheel. Think blue and purple and violet all hanging out together. These create calm, cohesive, harmonious feelings. The gray background is mostly neutral, but it leans cool. So it's not really creating a strong color relationship with the mug or the grapes, but it is adding a subtle, cool tone to the entire feeling of the photo. The purple background, now that's an analogous color scheme. The blue-purple mug, the reddy-purple background are neighbors on the color wheel. They naturally work together. And when you add in the purple grapes, now you've got this whole family of related colors creating one unified feeling. This is why the purple version feels so intentional and cohesive. It's following a color harmony rule that our eyes naturally find pleasing. Now, I just described that very positively, and it's going to make you maybe think that the cohesive is a better photo. It's just my preference of why I'm describing that, because frankly, I like the purple photo better. There's nothing wrong with the gray photo. But I digress. Let's talk about something most people don't think about, and that is the emotional temperature of your background color. And yes, I know that sounds weird. I couldn't think up a better phrase of it, but you've watched this video for this long, so you can hang with me for like 60 more seconds, right? Every color is either warm or cool, and that temperature creates a feeling before your viewer even consciously thinks about what they're actually looking at. The gray background color is cool, and I don't just mean cool like trendy, I mean temperature-wise. Cool colors feel open, calm, and clean. Think about the colors that come to mind when I mention an ocean scene or a brand that feels like it belonged on the coast. When someone sees a photo that is predominantly cool colors, they're getting an emotional message often of calm, chill, maybe clean, crisp, often minimalist, fresh. You get the point. The purple background is warm. It has red undertones. Because yes, you could have a cool purple, but that's a conversation for another day. In this case, warm colors feel intimate, cozy, maybe even rich. They pull you in. When someone sees this photo, they're getting an emotional message of comfort and far more indulgence than the gray background version. But here's why this matters so much for you and the work you make. You're not just choosing a background that looks good. Good, once you make sure the shape of your work, the color, and the texture of your work are all accurate, after those basics, then good is subjective because it's a matter of your aesthetic preference. And like I said in the beginning, if those initial basics, the color, the shape, the texture, if those basics still feel hard, well then, number one, you are not alone. I can promise you that. And number two, pause this video, start with my free product photography foundations guide that I mentioned. The link is still in the description, okay? I promise it's gonna help. But when it comes to background colors and the larger conversation around color theory, what's really happening? You're choosing the first immediate, subconscious, often emotional reaction your customer experiences when they see your product. If your brand and the work you make is about modern simplicity, then that gray background totally makes sense. If your brand is about cozy rituals and self-care, then maybe the purple's the right choice. The background is setting the emotional stage before your potential customer even registers what they're looking at. Now, just to make sure you've noticed this, what we're talking about here has nothing to do with what kind of camera or phone that I use to take these photos. Because ultimately, there are a ton of things you can do to improve your photos of your work long before you have to even consider whether or not it's time to invest in new equipment. So do me a favor and test this out for yourself. If you have a fresh batch of pots currently cooling in the kiln, try it out as soon as you unload. But if you don't, you can test this out on literally anything that you have lying around. Maybe it's a favorite mug that a fellow potter made, a ring, hat that you bought recently, literally any object. If you don't make pottery, test it out on whatever artwork you make. Test it out on an object just lying around that you didn't make. And don't worry about buying the perfect backdrop just yet. Do you have different colored bed sheets? Awesome. Drape them over a dining room chair and test. A couple of solid colored dresses or curtains or poster board in varying colors that are on sale right now because it's back to school at the office shops. Before you worry about buying the perfect backdrop that's going to set you back a little bit, just test with something simple and cheap. Try out different colors. See what you're most drawn to. See what makes capturing the colors of your work easier, particularly if you're using a cell phone. That's a whole other conversation that you can check out here. But first, before those tests, be sure you've downloaded my free product photography foundations guide so you know how to set up the tests to start taking better photos faster, even if you only use your cell phone. If you've enjoyed these quick tips and want more, then be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more helpful tips, specifically for potters and makers working to capture the art that you love to make in a way that looks just as good in a photo as it does in real life. And until next time, my friends, go get back to making your dreams a reality, because together, we've got this.